Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Going Racing Podcast here on the channel and on Spotify, any listening platform you have for your podcast. We are here to talk about some, of course, NASCAR this week from this past weekend's event at Circuit of the Americas, as well as some Monaco Formula One racing. We're going to be touching on Nitro and a couple little bits of drama from the NASCAR world from COTA as well as aside from COTA as well, and then we'll be touching upon what's going to be coming up this week with Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coca-Cola 600. You are joined by myself, Gary Owen, and we have Mr. Jake Cook here as well,
Hello.
Matt O'Brien,
Yeah.
as well as Edward Skierer.
Hi, how
Shearer,
are you?
Shearer,
Oh, okay, you're
Skierer,
still going. All right,
whatever it
good,
is.
Great. Platypus.
So we don't have actually a whole lot to kind of cover this week, but of course Monaco was pretty lackluster, like we all thought it was going to be. COTA ended up being just as wild as I thought it was going to be. So we're gonna probably spend a good chunk of time talking about COTA today. But before we dive in to Circuit of the Americas, we'll kind of highlight the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series that just happened last night. We were all watching, and they were racing at Charlotte, which is where they go this weekend. And there's a little bit to talk about in this one because, first of all, the main, not the main thing is honestly Ray Alfala. He won the race, not locked into the playoffs because he's not in the top 20 in points. But the main thing is, as we're watching the race, we start to uncover. I think Matt or Eddie, I saw it from at first, saying that all the Chevy cars had like a huge like aero or downforce disadvantage, right?
Yeah,
I
then they
don't.
patched it today.
Yeah, that was special today. They were like, yep. It was only the Chevys. And it was something like draft physics tweaked on the Chevys. I don't actually know what exactly was wrong, but something was wrong when they were behind car.
It was the arrow.
Yeah, something was just wrong.
Derek
Something-
Justice and David Shieldhouse were streaming about it last night. David and Derek were both explaining how basically every time they entered the corner when they were behind somebody or they had somebody behind them, they would have to go so wicked on the steering wheel. Derek Justice was literally showing how his steering wheel was looking compared to everybody else's, and Derek was about almost a full 180 degrees just trying to keep the car from going straight, and everybody else was just normal basically. Yeah, Casey Kerwin is streaming. Casey was even saying that they didn't have to turn that much, keep it on a dime. And then Derek even said that Bobby Zelensky knew about beforehand. That's why he made the switch to the Ford before the race.
Yeah, that's another talking point is that quite a few of the Chevy guys literally change their manufacturer before the race.
Zelensky went to Ford. One of the
The
McLarens,
McLaren.
at least, or both of them went to
Yeah.
Ford.
Mhm.
Which I didn't even know was allowed. But
Also, I'm just gonna say, Ray Alfala, we're gonna put in the quotation marks, won.
Fog.
I feel like if they were going to call it unofficial, they would have by now.
I feel like they would have too.
So,
I
and
don't know.
once again, a big issue that affects multiple people, they just try to cover it as much as
Hide.
possible, you know? Yeah.
I don't know. It is iRacing. They could just make it unofficial, but never say anything to the public, so we don't really know, and just like pretend like it's official, and yeah, just something weird happens with the points. It's iRacing. It wouldn't surprise me if they try and pull something off like that.
Also, you guys were watching on Twitch, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you notice what they did?
Emote only.
Yeah, emo
Yeah,
only. All the way
people
till
were
the
talking. Because people were talking about it
end. All the way till the end.
in
I
chat.
stayed in there after it, and then they still didn't change it until like maybe like an hour after the broadcast.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
And yeah, instead of
iRacing
being
handles things in an interesting way.
instead of
I mean,
being
Casey's gonna get
open,
himself freaking blocked on Twitter from
I was
iRacing,
trying
so-
to get blocked. Like, of course, I enjoy iRacing, but as how they handle situations and how they keep things from people like that. And earlier this season, I think it was Las Vegas, where we had several drivers have that
Homestead.
Homestead, where that disconnection issue happened,
Yeah, that was wicked.
and like a whole bunch of drivers had their race completely ended like within the first 5 laps, and like iRacing tried to fly that under the radar as quick as possible and as much as they could, and the only excuse they ended up giving to the drivers was that it was on the driver's end. But how did all these drivers at the same time all of a sudden just
They
have
all
this
had
issue?
it was Comcast.
Still though,
Yeah,
like
everyone that had
it's
Comcast internet.
either way, like how they handle things as a company is terrible. And have very little respect for them as with how they handle stuff.
Because like, and the thing is like, this is a professional series where there's a lot of money on the line.
It's a NASCAR sanctioned series,
Yeah. Like,
and like that happens, and they just try to hide it from the public at all costs.
yeah.
I don't know.
And it's funny because the Coke Series drivers just straight up aren't allowed to talk about stuff like this.
That's
And you
another
can
thing too,
tell,
right? Yeah.
like when it was when Isaac Gang crashed.
Oh yeah.
And that interview, oh my god, if anyone was in the know, everyone in the know knew exactly what he was talking about. He was flaming iRacing so hard, and you can see all the people that drive Chevys. They're just talking about like tonight was so tough, and it was the odds were against us. Like Michael Conti's tweet was interesting, but not a cool situation at all.
I mean, Ray Alfalo was roasting the hell out of the pre-race guys for roasting him. They had like a whole meme section apparently, and then they were saying how there was a clip apparently of like Ray going like 3 wide at Richmond for like 20th or something like that, and they're like, oh, that's basically where Ray runs every week. It doesn't matter. And then Ray, what did he say back? He said something funny. It was like he basically roasted saying that they're stupid. So that was pretty funny, I thought.
Well, yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
then
get
he
a lot
goes
of
and
people don't
wins,
like
right?
those
So
guys. Yeah, no. I mean, I think we can all agree. I don't think a lot of people like the people that run the Coke series right now, broadcasting wise.
And whose ever idea of putting it doesn't even matter because this happens every week. They literally put a guy that I really don't care about in any way, and they interview him for like 30 laps.
they did that twice.
Yeah.
Like they did what the Jesse
Yeah, Iwuji and
fan vote winner.
and then they had a guy
For
at the
like 30
beginning.
minutes. I'm like, and this is during the race, and it's literally a 30-minute interview. I'm like, I don't care.
Well, you gotta keep up with Fox, dude.
Oh my god, it was just like
Let's keep
I
it
don't
short.
wanna listen.
Broadcast.
What's
What
that?
was short?
I was just saying they need to keep them short, like 5 minutes at the absolute most.
Yeah, but like they're always like 20, 25 minutes. And
I
it's
know
like,
they
what's
just
going
keep on
on?
going. Remember, they brought Joe Graff Jr. on, and the guy literally gave a whole biography of his life.
Yeah, and like I don't want to hear this. I want to watch the damn race.
Yeah,
True.
and it was a solid race too. There
The
was some
first half was so
crashes.
boring.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was pretty bad there.
Yeah,
But
the first half, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Then chaos soon happened.
And then downforce.
Yeah, and then Ray Afala had a fifth gear apparently.
yeah, that final run, he just comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey,
My man knew when he had to basically taking away the bottom from everybody. He knew how to run that shit. It's just everybody else was on warm tires. And Malik screwed himself, in my opinion, by battling so hard with Loser to keep it.
I don't think it
That-
mattered.
That's no, but he said his problem was in the end he didn't have good enough tires. But like I'm pretty sure him and Ray were on the same pit strategy. I'm
Well,
not.
they
I'm
probably
not
burned.
100%
They burned
positive.
them.
Yeah,
Everyone was on the same strategy. I just
Malik was like side by side with Loser for like what was it, Gary? We were watching like 8 laps, 9 laps.
yeah,
it
almost."
was
least.
ridiculous.
Yeah. But like I understand where he's coming from battling for that. He wants the clean air, yeah, but he burned up way too much of his shit to do it. And that's what gave Ray the opportunity because he was basically saving, then he hit the gas and gone.
Made it work. Drove out and won the race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my man busted the lead too as soon as he got it.
Yeah.
So you knew he definitely saved tire.
Well, Ray better hope they find that speed because he needs to get
Every
top
week,
20 and
yeah.
winning.
Well, I mean, I think the main thing he's looking forward to is the fact that he got 2 more road courses.
Ray?
Yeah, that's what apparently what he was saying in the interview.
He's not
Road
going to be a
America,
factor, I don't think, though.
Road
No, that was
America,
not
Watkins
what he
Glen.
said at all.
No, I'm not saying he was looking forward to them. He's like, oh, we got 2
He
more road
did mention
courses,
them,
and then
yeah.
we got everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't. Ray's not a road racer.
He
No,
has
but
one at Watkins Glen, but
I think the way we know the road courses by now, I think there's gonna be absolute chaos if we look back at COTA.
COTA was
caution.
Like that
Boring.
first start, I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but other than that, it was boring.
Yeah.
But I mean, speaking of COTA, though,
Yeah.
we'll move on into the Circuit of the Americas weekend. There was a truck race where Todd Gilliland won, an Xfinity race where Kyle Busch won in dominating fashion, and then there was a Cup race with rain. Overall, so before we dive into kind of like how the race went, I want to hear you guys' thoughts just on not on the race, but on the racing product when there wasn't crashing and whatnot. I want to talk about the green flag racing product. What were your guys' opinions on it? We'll start with Matt.
I liked it.
Okay.
It was fun. It was unpredictable. You didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting. And this is the first time we've had a rain race in the Cup Series.
Mm-hmm.
And the Roval last season doesn't count.
It does not.
I mean,
Absolutely not.
They started on rain tires on basically a dry track. So,
Yeah.
but this was a full-fledged rain race, basically.
It was a shit
And
show.
It was glorious.
I thought it was
enjoyed
great.
I thought the race was great.
I think the only thing they need to figure out is like everyone was complaining about visibility wise. Other than that, I thought it was great because I looked back and watched the radioactive. And apparently, a lot of people were complaining about the windshield wipers were not really good enough. Apparently, that they need to probably look into doing some fixes and stuff with that. As far as the track conditions, I think we can all say that long straightaway gave us a hell of a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The standing water and the hydroplaning was great. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I think it was a good race overall with the rain. I think we can manage to do more of these kind of races in the rain, but it's like dependent on how, like track condition wise it can be. Like how much rain that whole straightaway got was not good. Like visibility was terrible. People were spinning out just because of how much water was on it. It was crazy, but like everyone else, it was fine. Like it wasn't as much until like the very end. But other than that, I think it was great.
Um. Jay, what did you think of the racing product?
I thought the track had the best of both worlds from 2 road courses we already go to. It had the technical aspects of Sonoma, but then it also had, like, for lack of a better term, the fun aspects of Watkins Glen. It put on a Watkins Glen-esque type race where it was crazy. It was actually entertaining to watch pretty much the whole time. But then also the road course it's also a technical road course as well. So I was very pleased with the racing overall the whole weekend. Obviously, the rain played a big factor into that. I don't think the race is as exciting if the rain isn't there. I mean, obviously, the rain provides excitement in and of its own, but still, I think that the track is good for the Cup Series, good for all of the series, honestly, and I think they should continue to go there. It was a fun race.
Um, I personally loved it. I tweeted about it. It wasn't the most popular tweet, but I did tweet about it. But so I want to talk about the visibility thing. So obviously, like especially down that long straightaway, we know that the guys complained they couldn't see anything. Spotters couldn't see whatever as well. So Logano, as we know, they've been trying to test wet tires on ovals, right? So
Flat
yeah,
short
flat
track.
ovals like Richmond, Martinsville, like New Hampshire. So they did one at Richmond, just like today, and Joey Logano was doing it, and they took the wet tire out there. I guess so they were trying mud flap type things on the cars to try and like reduce the spray. And he said
Yeah.
it helped like a little bit, but not much. But he said what he noticed is so they actually got the track wet and then put the dry tires on the car instead of the rain tire. and he said that when they had like the normal slick tire on the car, there was no spray whatsoever.
Yeah, that's because there's no water being displaced.
So
That's
he
pretty simple.
said that obviously like his recommendation is to look at just the treading with the tires in the future.
Yeah,
Which
yeah, it
I
could
mean,
all
yeah,
be about the way the tread of the tires is. I don't know what the tread of the tires is for like say an F1 for Pirelli for their F1 tires compared to Goodyear's tires for the Cup Series, but they should probably look into doing tread like that. Because I think the tread for the Cup Series cars is a lot deeper and a lot more pointed. But it also may have to be that way. They also may not be able to change it that much. But I think part of it too is just these cars are unlike any other car that races in the rain. When you have an F1 car in the rain, there's not this giant gaping hole in the back end that just allows all the water to go in one area and just start spraying in a giant arrow or in a giant like wave off the back of the car, kind of like the Cup car does. It's the rooster tails off of these cars are so huge because there's just so much area behind the car for the water to gather into one spot and go into just one big giant wave. So I think the diffusers might help with that a bit next year. But I still think that no matter what, the rooster tails are going to be an issue just because of it's stock cars. It's
yeah.
I don't know how well racing in a lot of rain is going to do. And Andy Lally brought up a good point on Twitter as well. I saw he was providing a lot of great insight over the whole weekend. But he brought up a good point that back straightaway is the lowest point of the track. And so like all the water runs there and everything. And so that's probably why there was so much water pulling up there compared to everywhere else on the track. And so that's like the one spot where if it's raining, NASCAR would need to take care of. And obviously we saw that. We saw that happen with how everywhere on the track was fine except for the back straightaway.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of before we dive into just the actual race review of what happened and stuff? What do you guys think of Kevin Harvick's comments basically saying NASCAR has no business racing in the rain?
I'll do it. I'll do it. I got this.
Okay. Okay.
Wah!
Yeah.
Yeah. Another hypocritical guy who has no reason to talk like that. He's another one that's caused incidents before and all that kind of stuff. And no thanks. I guess he doesn't remember 2015 at Talladega.
Yeah,
Question
the
mark.
most unsafe thing he's ever done in a stock car. He called it too. Yeah.
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 I think one of the funniest things I saw about that comment is literally someone posted the last lap 500 crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like Harvick says that, and we go to Daytona and Talladega twice a year.
Yeah.
And then he usually complains about that too.
And also, it's like at this point we have to stop looking at everything in racing. And I mean, obviously, there needs to be the mindset of safety, and you don't want anything bad to happen to these drivers. But we have to get out of the mindset of everything is going to be purely safe. There's going to be zero risks. There's going to be risk in racing. There's always going
That's
to
how
be those
motorsports are.
factors. Yeah, and it's also for for what it is. I'm not offering an opinion on it. I'm just offering a fact. It's also what gets people interested in it. The risk is what gets people interested in motorsport because it's a car that's going stupidly fast and it's something that we can't do in our everyday stuff. And we get to watch people do that, and it is exciting watching it be risky. It truly is. It's what got NASCAR popular because of how fast they were going, how different it was. Obviously, the racing action is a part of that too. But a risk factor, A, is always going to be there, and B, it's also what people want to see. It's why MotoGP is popular. Um, and then it's just like I don't I don't think that saying racing in the rain is one of the most dangerous things you've ever done in a stock car. I don't think that's also true at all, and pretty yikes from Harvick.
For me as well, the one thing that just got to me was like drivers like Harvick roasting NASCAR over stuff like that, and like the fans reacting and whatnot, and a lot of them agreeing with him is just adding on to why people of other motorsports like fans always rip on NASCAR and make fun of NASCAR because everyone else races in the rain and they accept the risk. They know what the risk is. They deal with it and they don't whine. And then NASCAR does it one time and then everyone is just outraged.
Done it
Um,
2
we all
times, and
are.
it's happened both times. Charlotte last year, they were outraged, not on the
well, in
cup side,
cup,
but
in
for
cup,
the
I mean,
Xfinity side.
on the main
The Xfinity
stage,
side, they were outraged,
they
Bro,
and
were.
then
well, the Xfinity race last season, I think the rain was a little ridiculous at points in
Yeah,
the
but the
Xfinity.
race was fun as shit, though. It
It
was
was
almost at
funny.
night.
It was fun.
and like that's the same thing for COTA. I get that the visibility was a big issue, and it certainly was a big issue. It's not something the NASCAR should look at and go, "Oh, that was fine. We shouldn't find anything to fix about that." They definitely need to find something to fix there. However, you can't go into it expecting NASCAR to know everything that's going to happen
When we've never done
and
it before.
yeah, and
No,
like
okay, I
having
got both.
everything solved right away and all that kind of stuff. Like, okay, you took the risk, you got through it, you lived, you went through it one time. Find a way to fix it for next time. Just shut your mouth and don't complain about it because it was at least interesting, and it was obviously a trial. So I mean, you
Uh,
can't rip apart NASCAR like that, in my opinion.
actually, there is an argument for that, for NASCAR to have a lot of blame. And here's my argument.
Uh huh.
Yes, the Xfinity cars are different, but there are very comparable things in the grand scheme of things, right? Like the how water gets displaced from an Xfinity car probably isn't very different from a Cup car, right? And how many Xfinity wet races have we had over the years?
Quite a few actually,
Yeah, it
I
depends on
think
with
it's
part you
I think it's
Montreal
close
and
to it's I think it's close to 10.
Well,
Harvick actually participated in one of those rain races in the Nationwide
But
Series
like
too.
so the
so
thing
like
is though, it's
NASCAR should have already known.
well, no, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they know what to expect in a rain race. I mean, we also had kind of the same situation last year at the Roval, and they mentioned that they weren't going to ever let the conditions get like that again. The thing is this time around is at a brand new racetrack where obviously we never had a race before, so you already don't know what to expect with that. And then also you got to look at everywhere else on the track was fine except for the back straightaway, and it wasn't an issue on the back straightaway until those two wrecks happened, and then that's when NASCAR saw that and was like, okay, now we have to do something about this. So like I can't really blame NASCAR because it wasn't an issue until those two wrecks happened, and then that's when they saw that it was an issue and something needed to be done.
I,
So like, you can say that NASCAR is reactive. Well, yeah, they kind of have to be, especially
uh huh.
with this type of stuff. They can't see that this is going to become an issue until it does, and then when it does happen, the best thing they can do is immediately react and say, "Okay, wait, we got to stop. We got to fix this," and that's what they did. Maybe the second wreck, maybe the second wreck shouldn't have happened. Sure, they probably should have looked at the first wreck and went, "Okay, what happened here? Let's get it fixed." But certainly, once a second one occurs, then they're smart enough to see, okay, this is the same factor. Let's fix it, and they did.
Well, I mean, heck, the first wreck, did they even know themselves what happened?
I don't think really
No.
anybody knew.
Yeah.
I don't even think we know.
No, like we just know some people ran into each other.
Yeah, we
But
don't.
one last thing is like instead of like this at fans and whatnot and just everyone like instead of making a big outrage and saying we shouldn't ever be racing in the rain again, instead um let's brainstorm on ways that we can make
Yeah, that
NASCAR
too.
rain racing a legitimate product instead of just
Like,
saying
good
it should be
lord,
gone because it
because
went wrong once on the first
yeah,
ever
it was
attempt on the
one
Cup Series.
race. It was their first time in the Cup Series doing it. Their first ever time racing in the rain like that. And after one race where there's two incidences that nothing bad actually happened. It could have been bad, but nothing bad actually happened. And NASCAR immediately stopped and got it resolved. Why are we calling for it to? Why are we calling for them to never do that again instead of letting them take the time to figure something out and get it ready for next year? Like when Dale Earnhardt died, did the entire sport say, "Okay, we should stop racing and never let cars hit the wall again," or did we give NASCAR time to invent the safer barrier?
Right.
Like,
And
chill
obviously,
out.
we know road racing is going to be a very predominant thing, it seems like, on the Cup Series schedules in the future. So I think there's always going to be that risk of rain now. So that's something we're going to have to get used to. We can't just stop racing on road courses in the rain, specifically for NASCAR, just because we're all upset over one race in the Cup Series not going well. But
And rain creates more eyes because people want to watch. Have they want to watch unpredictability? It creates a more exciting race in ways, and it also if you have to postpone every single race, especially if you start adding in road courses to that, that's gonna start killing NASCAR's ratings even more. Rain has destroyed NASCAR's ratings over the last couple of years. It seems like almost every single year we have at least 4 rain delays, if not more now, and those kill NASCAR's ratings. So now that we're adding in more road courses and there's a possibility of racing in the rain more, you're going to have to, start accepting the fact that NASCAR is still going to do races in the rain at road courses and possibly now at the flat short tracks if they can find a way to do it.
Yeah.
The thing that I could see if we're having rooster tail issues at road courses, the short tracks is where that's going to be an even bigger issue. So I think at the moment they need to not do that until at least next year, if not the year after.
Well, they did
Um,
announce that the Dover race from last week had a higher viewership point than COTA
Yeah.
this weekend.
Yeah,
Well,
there
ratings
was
were
the Masters, or
crap.
not the Masters. It was
Well,
the
there's
PGA
two
Championship
things.
going on.
No,
with
I
Phil
know, but
Mickelson.
yeah, but it was like, I mean, it was by a lot. Yeah. with
F
the PGA
FS1 doesn't
Championships.
help, but then like PGA, if it was like a normal thing, I think the ratings would have been really good for NASCAR. But the fact that Phil Mickelson, everybody knew going into Sunday that Phil Mickelson had a chance to win. Like people were glued to that. Like I heard
Oh,
all
yeah,
I'm not
about it.
gonna
was.
lie. If it
I
was
was.
if Dover was this past weekend instead of the weekend before, I would have been watching the PGA Championship instead of COTA. Like, yeah,
I think it was just a bad lineup. I think if COTA was
Yeah.
separated from that, ratings would have been through the roof.
and it's not like NASCAR had a million less viewers either. I think it was like a couple 100K, right? Not even that much.
No, I think it
maybe.
might have been quite a. I
It
think
was a lot. It was.
I think it was
actually
like
a
3
lot?
million difference. I thought I saw like 5 million
No,
for
there's-
PGA and like 2 point
Rain
something
was
for
six.
Oh
NASCAR.
no. Sorry,
But
I meant the difference from Dover to COTA.
Oh, okay. I have no idea.
PGA had 6.4.
No, we're talking about the difference from Dover to COTA.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
They said it was like 2
I-
or 3.
I don't think the difference between COTA and Dover
No.
was that large. I think there was only maybe a couple 100,000 different. And so like even then that's not that bad. That still to me shows that there was a lot of interest in the race. It's just a lot more people were more focused on watching Phil Mickelson get that historic win. So I think it's just bad circumstances. And there was also NBA playoffs going on, which I don't know if there was any games going on during the race.
No. Nope.
No.
And
They were all
and so-
night games.
Okay, well.
Yeah, that PGA though, that
But-
still took it all away.
Oh yeah, it's 6.4 million viewers. You hardly ever see that.
That
from both
was
of
a
them. Big Tiger Woods is doing
massive.
something.
That was a humongous storyline going into Sunday. So I saw it all over my feed. And like I don't keep up
And-
with golf a whole lot anymore, but I saw it everywhere.
Oh wait, no, I think IndyCar qualifying was over with by the time the race started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But now let's actually dive into the actual race that we watched. So, stage 1, there was interesting. So, like the race was getting ready to go, and it was kind of dry still. Some guys were like, "Okay, do we do dry tires or wet tires?" And some guys stayed on wets. Most of the people went to dry tires, and Austin Cindric took like the lead like right away and drove away. And I was like, "Oh my god, this guy's gonna win today easily." Obviously didn't. But what was it, like 2 or 3 laps later, everyone starts coming in?
Literally the first lap after like they went around
Ah.
once and people were finally getting rain tires. I'm just like, but like there was like 5 guys who were actually smart, and you're like, oh, rain's coming, maybe, and it's starting to rain. Maybe we should should keep the wet tires on.
Well, the team's fear is that you can burn those wet tires up so easily, and even just 1 or 2 laps. I think that's why a lot of teams did that. And I mean, I don't think it was necessarily the wrong call because you can't predict when the rain's going to start falling. It was just unlucky.
It wasn't
but
unlucky. Did you see the radar?
Yeah. Rain was
The
all over it.
entire-
like I just said, 1 or 2 laps on those tires, though, what the crew chiefs were saying, you could burn them up so easy. So even though you can look at the radar, that doesn't guarantee that the track is going to get soaked within 30 seconds.
Apparently, it did.
Yeah, it got wet quick. You know, actually, I applaud.
It took 2 laps. It took at least 2 laps before the wet tires really started coming in. That's like 6 minutes.
I
But
applaud.
That's
4
not the
minutes.
point. That's not the point. The point is that you spend 50 seconds on pit road.
Yeah,
I mean, in the long run, with only like 5 guys staying on wet tires, they really didn't lose that much time.
yeah. I mean, handful
They
of
mostly
spots,
cycled out to where
basically.
they were.
Yeah,
so
I
it wasn't that bad of a call.
I applaud NASCAR how they handled the start though to make sure we had a wet tire thing going on the pit lane, so we didn't have to throw a caution when it actually got wet.
The only reason that was because it was damp conditions,
Yeah.
not dry conditions.
So I was happy
Darn
about that.
turtle outside my house.
A
Anyways.
turtle.
But I hope this actually proves the NASCAR. You know what? We actually don't need
The caution.
to. We don't need the caution because literally, look at Austin Cindric. He was out there to like lap 7.
Okay, Austin Cindric is just an absolute beast, and he's a different breed compared to a lot of these other guys. I think.
And then the second half of the race happened for him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like with his experience, at least on racing in road courses in general, compared to the conditions out there, like that was the right time for him, and he was able to make it work. And then everybody else got used to the track and got caught up with the wet tire conditions, and well,
Then we saw him fade.
he
I mean,
wasn't up to the front anymore.
he still ran solid, of course.
He
I was
finished
impressed.
25th.
Yeah, but
I was like,
he
Gary,
did
I was
run
sitting there
solid.
thinking after 3 laps he was going to win.
Yeah.
I thought he had it in the bag easy.
Yeah, no, I was like, this dude's like long gone because he has racing in the rain on road course experience already, apparently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously, that's his background is road racing. So,
But I mean, once those guys that were already on wet tires and B have experience in the Cup Series and C got used to the track, you saw them blow them away. So,
and
once they got used to it, they blew them away.
Yeah, stage 1, of course, was quote unquote the calmest one of the 3,
Yeah.
and
It
it was kind of lackluster. Suarez had his gearing issue; they had to replace like the transmission or whatever before the race, and then it like died again or something. And then I'm pretty sure we still got back on track. It just obviously couldn't do anything because
He
we
was
were
like 8
multiple
laps
laps
down.
down. Yeah, so it was an unfortunate day for us there, but I think so. Logano won the first stage, but I think that was also the same stage where De Benedetto and Byron had their moment, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Larson was like trying to put some pressure going down to the corner towards that very long back straightaway. De Benedetto like moves to the right or something, and then
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Like if he just missed his braking point or
So,
what, but he just drove
yeah,
into the back
he
of
kind of
24.
missed the braking point and started wheel hopping, but also Byron went to like quote unquote block. He moved over to the right, kind of weird as well. And then that's when him and Dibby made contact. Obviously, nothing intentional by either driver. And I don't think nothing De Benedetto could do. He was wheel hopping. He couldn't slow down. So, yeah, yeah.
23rd for him, by the way.
We'll talk about. I think Jay will talk.
Yeah,
about it
so I was gonna say Jay sent me a tweet that he was very passionate
Yeah.
about. We will touch on that
Yeah,
actually at the end of this.
He sent me.
So
I mean,
we'll.
at least Dimmy's driving exactly how he would if he was in the 10 car next year.
Wow, here we go. Yeah, where did he still beat the 10 car even with that car he destroyed?
Eric Almirola got 26.
Yeah, I
So
remember.
he beat him by
Hey,
what?
I'm just gonna say De Benedetto finishing where he did had nothing to do with his
Yeah.
damage because he
Well,
was running just fine. It saw the crew chief again, but anyways.
We'll have you explain that very well. Don't you worry. We're gonna have a whole segment for you to go off here.
Just fire him, dude. Let's
Just
do it.
hang in there for like
stage 2.
just hold on,
Stage
Jay,
two
for like
started.
10 minutes. You got this. Okay. So stage 2 is when everything kicks off. This is when all of a sudden every single fan that was so hyped all of a sudden says we should never race in the rain again. So
Great.
based off of two accidents. So the first lap, it's all looking good. We knew the rain was coming down. Track was wet. The wettest that it had, of course, been at this point in the race. So visibility. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nearly as wet at that point as it was at the end of the race, but
yeah, I mean,
could be worse. Could look like a tsunami.
The visibility was very poor on restarts. Everyone's around each other, and you're going very high speeds on that long back straightaway. They are hauling the mail for being on a soaked track down that straightaway. I would be terrified if I'm in a race car, especially a stock car. Okay, if I'm in like a GT3 car, I'm like, okay, maybe an F1 car, but a stock car going those speeds in the rain, I don't know.
It's terrifying enough, like in iRacing, to drive around COTA in a stock car.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well,
I don't even.
Also, just for a short second, that also goes to show to me that these cars actually can handle the rain.
They can.
And
yes,
it's possible. NASCAR just needs to look at a couple more things. But anyways, go ahead.
So that's when we at the beginning of stage 1, we have our first stage 2, sorry, our first legitimate accident of the day, and to this day of Wednesday, the 26th, we still don't genuinely know exactly what happened.
Where's the camera?
The camera work, actually, one little quick point before we dive into this weird accident. Camera work all weekend was horrendous, okay? We're
Worst it's
at
been, honestly.
we're at Circuit of the Americas, where Formula One, they did a great job with their camera work at this track. We do not need to be zoomed in on these cars, barely able to see the curbing beside them. Okay, the whole race. Like, I want to see the track because F1 goes there, you can see everything that's going on. NASCAR, like, we're right in on the front bumper of this car, and you can barely see the whole width of the track.
All right, I think my favorite one is when there's the camera in like the 300-foot tower, and it's looking through the red like beams. I'm just like, what are you doing?
And that's just a NASCAR thing in general too, right?
Yeah, it is. I think the most egregious one of the weekend. I believe I was texting you about this one, Gary. On Saturday they had the truck race, and on the white flag we have the leader who's ahead. I can't remember exactly who was where, so I'm just gonna go by leader, second, third place. We had the leader who was ahead by about 7 seconds, and then we have second and third place basically side by side the entire lap battling. And what does Fox show? A zoomed in picture of the leader the entire time, and then he crosses the line, and they continue to follow the leader, and they don't look at second and third. Like, they're side by side racing back there. This guy is 7 seconds ahead. Look at the battle going on behind him. I want to see racing. Holy crap, Fox, you're so stupid.
I initially noticed it when I got home Saturday, seeing Kyle Busch in the final couple laps, and he was going like through the S's, and he was going through the final sector, and I couldn't even see the whole track with it. And I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Like, you can't be doing that. But they didn't stop all weekend long. So back to the accident though. The zooming in, of course, had no effect here.
Yeah. To see a wreck, to know what actually happened in this wreck, you would actually have to see it because we never saw it.
They had to go to NASCAR Race View to get an idea.
2003 graphic.
Yeah. All right,
so do it for both.
Yeah. All right, so Harvick was driving like grandma, and then he got rear-ended like a grandma.
Well, there was an accident before that though, with the 20 and the 12. Yes.
12, yeah.
Yeah. There was. I who knows what's going on.
We also don't know. One of them ran into each other.
Yeah,
I think
that's the part that we have no idea what happened.
The 20's front bumper was destroyed. So my guess,
the rear end of the 12 was destroyed.
Yeah.
So therefore, my guess,
they ran into each other basically.
Yes, but the cameras never showed it.
Yeah.
Basically, Bubba and Christopher Bell were just told floor it. Floor it.
Yeah.
So the cameras basically cut in, and the 20 cars just chilling in the wall, and we're like, oh, okay. And the next thing you know, Bubba Wallace. We're like, what the heck happened?
Okay. Then they pan over to the straightaway, and you just see Harvick limping. We're like, oh, okay.
And the 12's tires down. He's limping around like, what the heck just happened?
It's like they just pan to Blaney at first, like, oh, he's got a flat tire. That's pretty normal. Then they go to the 20 dead in the wall, like, oh, something else happened.
And then the 23.
Bubba's getting out, and like, what the hell's happening?
Harvick limping, like, oh shit.
And then we're like, okay, like here comes the replay, and then they're like, we have the roof cam of the 4 car.
He's just driving along, and then he's slowing down, and all of a sudden the roof cam's looking at the ground.
Nice Sunday cruise in the rain, all of a sudden, just rear-ended.
He wants to talk about it, like the unsafest thing he's done. You were the one being unsafe, Kevin.
Yeah, he was the one who just decided to start slowing down the straightaway. I get he was told to slow down because of a wreck, but like, move over somewhere. Oh my god.
Don't plant yourself.
I want to know Bubba's audio through that. I wonder what he.
Well, he was so mad he didn't even do the interview, which I could imagine.
No, but like, I want to know what his spotter was telling him on the straightaway, though.
Well, I guess the spotters said like they couldn't see either, right? So, I mean, obviously,
that's also just bad positioning. I think NASCAR should have had a spotter, like the spotter stand
somewhere else.
Yeah, down probably towards that back straightaway. They should have thought about that.
Chase, his friend Terry was freaking spot for him on that long straightaway. He was all the way at the beginning of that long straightaway.
Oh, they did have spotters there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Chase had Eddie was in turn 1 and covered that whole little section. Then his real IRL friend Terry was in that turn just before the long straight. And then Bill Elliott was sitting in turns 15 and 16.
and like they still couldn't see the straightaway.
Apparently.
Yeah. So
And-
yeah, we're not really sure what happened there.
yeah, they had to go to NASCAR Race View to give us an idea, and that showed the 20 hitting the 12 and the 23 hitting the 4. So obviously, like Bubba, he couldn't see. He drove straight in the back of the 4, who's just like hitting the brakes in the racing line. He's like, I'm out.
Good interview, Mike Wheeler.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would have been extremely angry, probably myself.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, shit, dude. Come on.
And
So-
let's get into where shit really hit the fan.
so yeah, so all those guys are out of the race, and then we get it
Cole
ready to go
Custer.
again, and we kick it off, and we're like, okay, we just had a big crash. That was interesting. And we don't actually know what happened. Well, we know what happens this time around. So
Truex did not like Michael McDowell. Cole Custer said, "Floor it."
Michael McDowell, same straightaway, similar situation. He's checking up. Truex can't see. He drives into the back of the 34. We're like, okay. And then he is, of course, way off the pace because he just destroyed his car and his hood's all the way, like flopping all over the place, whatever.
Yeah.
Cole Custer has no sight of this, no idea. He is hauling the mail. This guy is flying and just drives right into the back of the 19.
He almost flipped him over.
Corey Cavill just buff out the scratch.
He drove under the 19 is what he did. And
Yeah,
like
great.
up on his side goes Truex. And I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think of that crash?
Stuart Haas was trying to figure out what the hell JTR had underneath their carriage. That was the whole plan.
Interesting strategy by SHR.
Yeah, they had a camera on the dashboard.
Cole, take the
in
hit.
in all reality, this actually was a very scary wreck when it happened.
No, it was, yes.
This was
very much
terrifying.
so.
And then this is like, I think this is when everyone's like, okay, this is actually not, something is horribly wrong,
Yeah,
because that should never happen.
that's
Yeah,
when
Cole-
everyone realized that they literally cannot see down that straightaway.
Dude, Truex put the
Um,
banana peel down.
No,
Cole Custer ran over it.
no.
Well, actually, so Cole got the car stopped. It's on fire. And as
Oh, it
he's
got
getting
stopped
out of the
alright.
car, the 47's still coming. Like, at a good speed,
yeah.
too. And I'm like, oh,
well,
my
no,
God.
I think everybody overreacted on that one a little bit because in the picture, or in the screenshots of it that I saw, it looks a little bit bad. But in the actual video, like he was heading that way the entire time. He wasn't going to the left side of Custer's car. He really wasn't anything to flip out about there, in my opinion. But yeah, Ricky was still he was going a little bit fast, but he wasn't heading towards the left side of Custer's car. He had a trajectory towards the right side the entire time.
No, Ricky was just focused on killing Quinn Half after the third time he wrecked him. Literally, him and Quinn Half were going back and forth all day.
Also, can we talk about after Custer gets out and his car is just sitting there for like 5 minutes? How there's an official just standing there watching the fire, not doing anything. He's just staring at it.
He's like, the rain's gonna solve it.
Yeah, we don't need no extinguishers. We're good.
I thought that was so comical. He was just dead ass standing there staring at the fire, not doing a thing, not moving a muscle.
I'll get
Like,
paid enough
bro.
to take out the fire.
Get someone over to put the dang thing out. And I saw somebody on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but somebody tweeted saying that there was actual cheers from the fans once they finally put the fire out.
Of course,
All right.
makes sense.
So
It's like I guess it took them that long to do it.
then we red flag the race. And
Good call.
we decide to dry that straightaway. I'm getting one heck of a storm coming through here right now. So if I disappear, you know why. But
You can hear it actually.
yes, it is barreling down right now. It came out of nowhere actually. But so they red flag it. They dry, quote unquote, dry the back straightaway to a point where they think it will reduce the spray enough to continue racing. And then they also make a decision to go to single file restarts for the rest of the race. And they got back going, and then it was actually okay. I mean, there was still spray, of course.
That was like the smartest thing they did with that whole long.
Absolutely.
That's what they should have done to begin with. And like
And-
the fact that people are still
But that's-
complaining is ridiculous.
I mean that's something that obviously you kind of figure out after something happens, right? And then you realize this is what you need to do.
Yeah,
Another one of those things that you don't really know until something happens and you realize it.
exactly. It's like after the second time they realized it.
and
props to NASCAR for figuring that out pretty quickly too. They could have let
Yeah.
it go another couple of times and then finally realized, but they acted pretty quickly on it, I think. So
I think there was the odd spin here and there still. I can't remember any specific
there was
drivers.
things that still happened,
Yeah.
obviously, but there was no actual wrecks or anything.
But basically, I mean, we just kind of ran it through to the end of the stage, and I honestly don't remember who won stage 2. Was it the 18?
Kyle
Bush.
Okay, it
Kyle
was the
Busch.
18. Yeah.
Busch.
And in his opinion, that's where the race should have ended.
Actually, in this 5 laps, Eric Jones got spun. I was sad.
Oof. Yeah, I do remember that
Chris-
actually. Yeah.
Chris
Um,
Buescher bonked him, apparently.
And then stage 3. We
Eric
get
Jones spun
going.
three.
Eric Jones having some issues. That stage we saw quite a few like little incidents, but it never really led to anything.
Yeah.
I think we were
Kyle
green the
Larson
whole
showed
final
up.
stage, weren't
Yeah.
we?
Until
Yep.
the end. Yep.
Till the end.
And it was. I mean, I thought it was great racing. But the only kind of
A lot of
nothing.
strategy.
Yeah, that's nothing was really crazy. And then we had the strategy kickoff, and some guys pitted a little bit earlier, and ended up being Kyle Busch was short. Chase Elliott was a few laps short.
Yeah, him and Kyle were on the same strategy. They both pitted at the same time. Both were like,
Kyle
2 to 3
decided
short.
to come in earlier. Ended up being a race winning or a race losing mistake because he actually had good speed. He could have competed with the 9.
No, Kyle and Chase both pitted at the same time, and then
Yeah,
they raced each other out, and Chase passed them on the straight.
I think Kyle went in a full save mode is what happened.
Kyle went full save mode, but Chase
And
was
Elliott
told
said
to
full
keep going.
send. You know, I think
Well, yeah.
the
and
thing was
Allen
Kyle
had
was
no idea about it.
yeah. I think Kyle was like, we can try to make it. Chase like, I can't save 2 laps. We might as well just go for it. Type strategy.
Yeah, I think
Because
Well,
Circuit of
that's
the
the
Americas, you're not saving 2 laps at Circuit of the Americas with the time they had left. You're not. It's
Especially
not
in the rain.
happening. Yeah, it's not happening.
Especially in the rain.
Strategy kicked in once Chase got the lead. Like Allen was still figuring out the numbers the whole time after they pitted and stuff. Like once Chase got in the lead, then he's like,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean
we're
Kyle
sure
though,
I
he
need
was
to
full
save.
save already before then.
I honestly think
We're gonna
that,
be able to make it.
I honestly, for one of the few times ever, I enjoyed having strategy be a part of a NASCAR race.
Yep.
Normally, it's kind of like, oh god, this is going to lead to a really crappy winner. This time, it was okay. This is interesting. I like where this is going.
Yeah.
But then Kyle Larson still ends up runner up. So it was looking like Larson was gonna win because there was no way
Yeah.
Elliott's making it.
Actually, talking about strategy, Jay, I think this is your time to tune
Oh
in.
yes. So now, before we go into the rest of the thing with Kurt Busch and the just finish of the race, we're gonna let Jay go on his little moment about what happened, Jay, with the 21 team there in that final stage.
Pain. So I've mentioned it multiple times that the Benedetto's crew chief is very, very dumb. Has no idea what he's doing. And honestly, I didn't think it could get as bad as it did this Sunday. Like, he made the dumbest decision I think I've ever heard of. So, in the middle of stage 3, the Benedetto, in the beginning of stage 3, the Benedetto had something to do.
He has fresh tires at the stage.
Yes, he has fresh tires at the start of stage 3. Mm-hmm. But he has an engine issue that he's had since, I think, in the middle of stage 2 or something like that. And it's nothing to do with the damage. It would have happened no matter what, where the engine just randomly shuts off and they can get it refired after a little bit, but he loses a lot of spots. So that happens in stage 3. He loses a lot of positions when he would have been around the top 10, and now he's down in the 20s. So when they decide to pit for the last stop of the day, you have to get a full tank of gas. So that's still going to be 2 cans of fuel. Still going to be roughly the same amount of time if you were to take 4 tires. But what does the Benedetto's crew chief think? All right, we're going to pit here, and I'm going to be really big brain and only do fuel and only save about 2, maybe 3 seconds on the pit stop here and not take tires and risk staying out on old tires. And then what happens? The race goes green. De Benedetto's tires get so freaking old that he can't race on them anymore, and he has the pit with like 4 to go, and then the race gets ended because of rain. And he finishes like 26th.
No.
He's a freaking idiot.
It was like 23rd because he still beat the 10 car. That was 26th.
Oh my God, he could have had a top 10 or close to a top 10 if he just took tires. He only gained like 3 seconds on pit road. It takes the same amount of time to put 4 tires on because you have to do a full pit stop with fuel. You have to get the tank full. Oh my God, he's a
so
freaking idiot. He has like 2 IQ.
look at it this way.
Jay knows how I felt like all last season with having the legendary
Yeah,
Chris
Matt
Gale.
had a rough time there.
Jesus.
So you got to look at it this way though. He had this horrendous strategy call. His car was shutting off in the middle of the race, and he still beat Eric Almirola, who was
Look,
just irrelevant all race. It wasn't because he was getting taken out by people. He was just bad.
Eric Almirola is ass.
no,
I'm
he's
just
just
gonna say
mediocre.
He's mediocre. Yes, he is not bad. He's mediocre.
he's ass.
He's not good by any
He's
means. He's mediocre, and he will always be mediocre. So now that Jay got his feelings out,
I'd say I feel better, but I don't because it doesn't change that the decision happened.
and you know something stupid will happen this weekend in Charlotte. Is
Fucking-
600
oh
miles,
my
man.
God.
A
Just think-
600 miles of strategy.
Jay, that guy's got like double the time that
8
COTA
pit
was.
stops.
Well, he's got like
8 pit stops basically.
double the
Yeah.
time limit that COTA had to screw something up for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
hey, we can go. My two
Don't worry,
favorites
he's
of
gonna
last-
go. He's gonna go in with a car that's absolute dog shit because the crew chief is gonna wind up setting the car up for a daytime race instead of a nighttime race or some stupid stuff like that. Swear to God, the guy's a fucking idiot.
hey, man, you want some Chris Gale highlights from last season? Yeah, I can give you some good
I'm
ones.
telling you right now, none of them are as bad as hey, let's take fuel only here when we have to fill the car up.
I think one of my favorites is Eric was like 25th at Dover after 30 laps. A caution came out, and they took 2 tires to get up to like 15th.
Oh God.
and then it went green for like to the end of the stage. I wonder what happened to Eric Jones.
God almighty.
So back to the race. The only really noteworthy thing was Kurt Busch. So this man, at this point, the track was very, very wet. A couple drivers were like, "Yeah, we're having some hydroplaning issues." Kurt Busch proved that to like full extent here because we're going down this long back straightaway. Kyle Busch and I think it was Austin Dillon behind him, right? It was
Yeah.
okay. It was so they're slowing down for this corner at the end of the long back straightaway, and all of a sudden you just see this blob coming, and it's Kurt Busch, and he's going like three. He was going like 3 times the speed the guys in front of him are because his car ain't stopping. He's hydroplaning, and like he is hauling the mail, and I'm like, I see him turn left. I'm like, he is about to just kill his brother right here. This is like gonna be unbelievable. The man misses the 3 car by an inch. And then I'm like, Kyle screwed. He misses Kyle by like an inch. He splits between them both. Like
A needle in a haystack, basically.
the fact that he did that in the situation that he was dealt with, that was like the most incredible thing I've ever seen. How he did
Honestly,
that, I don't know.
That whole sequence was like one of the coolest things that's happened so far in the entire season. He misses both of those cars by an inch, and then what does he do? He lets off of the brakes when he gets into the gravel pit and slams on the gas to get himself out of it, and then winds up doing a 360 to get out of the grass and keep himself away from the gravel pit and drive back around so he can get back on track. That was one of the coolest 5,000, 10 billion IQ moments
It's
I've
like
ever seen in NASCAR. That was like, holy crap, big brain from Kurt Busch.
like that's the race car driver. Like you just got dealt with this bizarre situation where you just about destroyed yourself and 2 other guys and you miss him by an inch and immediately boom, you got to be already on top of the next situation where he's coming at a gravel pit where he can get easily stuck. So he's got to completely get into gear with what he's got to do now to get out of that situation and get himself back on track, and he managed both situations great.
Yeah. All right. So everyone's reaction when he was about to kill Kyle or Austin Dillon. Oh no! The instant he passed Kyle Busch and like he was clear, everyone just started dying of laughter.
Yes, absolutely.
It was like the scariest yet funniest thing I've seen all season.
Honestly, one of my favorite moments.
Could you
It was
imagine
great.
if he ended up hitting one of those cars, the reaction though.
If he wound up hitting Kyle, holy crap!
Would've been one
Anyone.
hell of our family reunion.
I don't know, though it would have been hilarious if he took out Kyle. That wa-
Brotherly love.
like
He had two ways to completely screw Kyle over there, and he didn't. And none of them happened. He could have nailed Kyle Busch and obviously ended his race that way, or he could have got stuck in the gravel pit and basically ended his chances that way. And neither of them happened, and that was like big brain.
unbelievable. And then after that, I mean, the conditions were horrendous, and then they finally decided to call it. Chase Elliott ends up with his first win on the season. So congratulations to him. I want to see him still win a race without that happening.
Dr.
um,
Bosch.
but
I mean, I think everyone, whenever there's a rain race, no matter what the situation is, it's just like,
it's always
okay.
discredited, on the
Well,
driver. But
it's not like discredit. Like Chase was fast, but it was just like it's still just like that.
First win in the rain in his career.
like an
it-
asterisk.
It's just a letdown, no matter what.
Yeah. Like, it's one of those ones, I mean, unless you're a big Chase Elliott fan, you're gonna forget about it, no problem.
Well,
Okay.
like in my opinion, so my thoughts on it are like the thing that I'm thinking about it is so obviously it's a time where you're actually racing in the rain and you wind up ending the race because of rain. Like I don't that sounds like
Ironic.
really dumb and ironic.
Most
Yeah, like
NASCAR move to ever be
I,
NASCAR.
I think what they should have done is at least tried to do the same thing with hang on. They should have at least tried to do the back straightaway thing again and gotten it cleaned off because there was only so many laps to go. I don't think it would have gotten really bad again had they taken 10 minutes to 10 15 minutes to clean it off again. But
Yeah, that was the only, I think, weird thing was they
yeah,
had
I
already
think they should have
proven
done.
that they already proved that it worked earlier, so why at least not try it one more time? And I mean, if it's like, okay, yeah, we can't do it, then okay, call it. But they didn't even try. They're like, ah, screw it, let's just send it. But I mean, it was starting to get later. They already had a lengthy red flag, but I still think that they could have at least tried once.
Um, this is also like the one time where like like besides Chase, like everyone, because Chase is like the winner. Of course, he wants to race. He's in the lead. Of course, he wants to race the end, right? But like everyone was like seemed very okay. Just like, yeah, I'm glad this is over.
Yeah, everyone just
Tyler
wanted it
Reddick
to be done.
was. I don't remember if his
Well,
interview was after the race.
Reddick was like the one exception. Like Kyle Busch, like he was like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this. Larson was pretty accepting of it.
No, Reddick was pissed. He wasn't pissed. I don't think he was pissed about the race ending. I think he was pissed that they were racing in general. Like his interview that he gave
Yeah.
was the most emotion of fire I've ever seen out of that man. He was mad. He called it the dumbest thing. I think was I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically he flamed NASCAR for the fact that they were even racing.
That's
He was
and
upset.
unfortunately, like I lose nothing but respect for all the drivers that whine and complain that they were even racing in rain in general. Specifically, Kevin Harvick. He was like, "We shouldn't even
Yeah,
been in the rain." If you
I'm
complain
on like
about that, I lose respect for you no matter what.
Well, the thing is so I'm on a bit of like I don't really know because in one way you can look at it, they're complaining about racing in the rain in general, and another way you can look at it is they are okay with racing in the rain. However, those conditions were so yikes that they didn't like it
I
and
mean, if he's
felt really
talking
bad
about
about it. So I
the
don't
conditions
know
at the
which one.
end, then that's fine. But like Kevin
Yeah, like
Harvick,
I don't. Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I can see how Kevin Harvick would be upset because it was bad. They couldn't see, but like the way he reacted and the things he said was just really stupid
is like an
and
okay
really
boomer
dumb.
moment.
Yeah, like
Actually, there was one person who was upset that the rain happened like that at the end. It was Eric Jones, surprisingly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said something along on the radio when the caution came out. He's like, "Man, it was just getting good." Because like at that point, he was like literally like 3 seconds faster than like the next 6 cars in front
Oh,
of him.
wow.
Like, yeah, he was hauling at the end. Like I don't know what was going on, but he was moving.
That was like as well.
I
Like they were still able to race, so I didn't even see why we had to throw the caution
well,
there.
I'm not gonna like sit here and say that NASCAR called the caution because Chase Elliott was leading. I'm not gonna be one of those people. However, I do think that they didn't try to get the race going because Chase Elliott was the leader. That's kind of what it seems like to me. They literally didn't even try. They sat there for 5 minutes and then we're like, okay, we're calling it. Like
Yeah, but
that.
they've had
That's
instances
part of it.
before where they're like, yeah, we're not even going to bother trying.
Yeah.
I don't. No matter what, I think them not even trying is stupid. No matter who's in the lead, and I think Chase Elliott being in the lead had a part of that. I could be wrong. I have a feeling that they didn't try because he was in the lead. But no matter what, they should have tried, and the fact that they didn't is kind of dumb. I mean, they
And,
already knew what worked,
yeah, that was the thing.
and they
Like they
didn't even
proved it
try
to
it.
work earlier, but at the end of the
Yeah,
day, nothing we can do about it. Chase Elliott locked in the
I
playoffs.
think I think a part of it was a lot of the other track was like just not the back straight. Like other parts of the track were actually getting worse too.
yeah, but they weren't.
Those were
Like
like
you still had to
manageable,
expect to
maybe.
race in the rain, right? Yeah, like none of the other parts of the track were like the back straightaway. They could still very easily race in it. Sure, they were worse than they have been all day long, but it wasn't unraceable. The only part that was getting really bad and unraceable was the back straightaway, and they already proved that you work on it for 15, 20 minutes. You can get it to where it's fine again and it's raceable. And it's not like they had 30 laps left either. If they had 30 laps left, okay, sure, I can see that because you're gonna have to call like 3 cautions to get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they should have tried, and the fact that they didn't, that's the only part that I have a gripe about is they didn't even try.
Um, Overall, in my opinion, I enjoyed the race as a whole. Obviously, the crashes were unfortunate, but I enjoyed the racing product that I saw under green flag
Not
conditions.
not gonna lie though, I don't watch NASCAR for crashes. However, seeing some big crashes again at non-plate tracks, me likey. Let's get back to that.
I think no matter what,
I've kind of missed the exciting crashes affecting the races and all that kind of stuff. Like again, I don't watch for crashes, and obviously, I don't want anyone to be harmed. However, crashes are a part of motorsport, and I think it's
yes,
an okay thing to be like, I want crashes to make things exciting, and it was nice to have one to make things exciting
I
again.
I like think if you're a racing fan, motorsports fan in general, you know, like Dre just said, crashing is still a part of motorsports, though true fans, motorsport fans, like us, like we don't watch it for the crashes, but that's something that still is exciting.
Like it's a part of it, yeah. It's something
Yes,
that adds to the excitement of motorsport. And you see a crash, and you're like, "Holy crap, that was wild!" So glad they got out and they're fine. Let's
I
watch like 10,000 replays of this and get all the angles we can because that was cool.
I don't
It's a
watch hockey for the hits, but the hits are
but a big
exciting.
hit is like, oh yeah.
Yes, that is like the equivalent
And
comparison right there to
it's like,
NASCAR.
yeah, yeah. It's just
It's like
it's something. It's another part of it. You don't watch for it and you don't hope for it, but when it happens, you're like, holy crap.
that was awesome.
And yeah,
Of course, if everyone's okay, then it was like that was like the coolest thing ever. But
Because like let's be honest, the Newman thing, I think all our hearts
everyone was
oh
terrified
yeah,
that we were
oh yeah. That immediately in the moment, like, holy crap. That was my immediate thought where there's no way he's alive, just the way that it looked, and thank God he was. It's also like football too. You see somebody get absolutely trucked, and like you're instantly everybody's like, "Holy crap, that was amazing! That was awesome!" It's just another one of those things. It's a part of it, and I think
like we don't
crashes are
watch for
exciting, and
it,
the fact that they don't happen much anymore, except for when we're at
right?
play tracks, is just disappointing.
So we'll move on a little bit now from Circuit of the Americas, and we're gonna touch a tiny little bit. We don't really want to dive into this kind of subject, but it's big news. The defending champion, of course, of Chase Elliott, his spotter Eddie DeHaan used to spot for Jeff Gordon, of course, before he retired, and then stuck with Chase. So he was suspended indefinitely by Hendrick Motorsports this morning, and then NASCAR came out just after and suspended him as well from NASCAR competition indefinitely for I didn't see the full thing on it, but I
The
guess
so at
assaulted a
first,
woman.
oh yeah. I thought you were gonna say why you got. I was gonna bring up a point that NASCAR did when they first announced he was suspended. They only announced one reason, and it made them look really bad. And then they gave like the full reasoning, or Bob Parkers revealed the full reasoning. Because when they first announced it, they said that he was suspended for not notifying them within 72 hours, like making it look like if he had notified them, he would have not been suspended. But then, like an hour or two later, Bob Parkers released that NASCAR actually had 2 points: A, because it happened, and B, because he didn't tell them. Uh, but anyways, continue.
but yeah, I guess he assaulted a pregnant woman. Um, from what I read, apparently it was at like he like not related to the person. It was over some like what do you call
A
it?
jet
You know
ski rental.
those jet ski rental. Like something over that and like just some money or something. I guess he paid for something they didn't get it or something like that. Either way,
So
obviously
he basically paid for a certain amount of time to rent a jet ski,
yeah.
and they didn't have the appropriate clothing on. I'm guessing like they didn't have a life jacket or something. I don't know what the extent was. It wasn't listed,
Yeah,
but they
there's not
had
a lot of detail right
yeah
now.
they had to take time to go and change clothes, and so I guess either that made them lose their time with the jet ski, or they had less time with the jet ski, and so there was an argument over Eddie DeHaan trying to get more time and not have to pay any more money because they were told they had to change, and so that's what the argument was over. And there's been a couple things like each side has now had their stuff made public, and I don't know how to feel about it right now. I'm getting kind of like screaming for money, and it didn't actually happen. Is kind of what it looks like to me right now.
Obviously, like
The-
we don't know what
yeah.
actually happened, right? So
Yeah.
um, it's hard to give an opinion on it. Uh, but
Mhm.
he was
On what,
arrested.
Eddie's thing?
Yeah.
Bob Parker's put out a whole story on it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we were talking
I'm
about
not gonna
that.
delve in it too much, but
Oh,
We're just
okay.
saying like I guess both sides had a different story, pretty much, right?
Of course they
Yeah.
have.
yeah,
Of
Which
course
is
they
a
have.
normal
there was
thing.
the
So
side of the employee of which
basically,
there was the argument, and then Eddie DeHaan got physical, and then
yeah,
there was the other side of the employee got physical first and stuff.
if
So
Eddie, of course, did what he's being charged of, he's a massive idiot, and hopefully he ends up in jail. Um, but obviously, the most interesting thing I thought about it was that it happened on May the 12th, that he was arrested for it, and we are now on May 26th, where he spotted two races in between the time of his arrest and now of it just kind of coming up public into into his suspension. So
I think like seriously nobody knew about it. I think he
I
actually hit it.
so last night I said myself I was like there's no way they didn't know. I think now I legitimately do believe HMS when they say they didn't know.
Yeah, because they don't like it's not like they run background checks before each races or anything like NASCAR does or
No.
anything like
Uh,
that. Like all you have to do is just bail
well,
yourself out, and then you don't if you don't say anything, nobody's gonna know. And
and,
obviously Eddie DeHaan has the money to do that.
yeah.
So
Also, the yeah, he doesn't only work for Hendrick. He works for Junior Motorsports, and there's a truck team he works for.
Hattori, right?
Motorsport.
Hattori.
Hattori, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever
Hattori.
it is. So
The
you're gonna
16.
so so like I'm with you, Gary. When I first saw it, like, man, there's no way that no one knew. But like after thinking, it's like if he's
yeah,
related, if he's with all these people, someone has to know, right?
Yeah.
You would think, yeah.
You'd think.
but when you
But if
actually sit
someone
down and
did,
logically think about it, like if he's not going out and telling anyone, how is anybody gonna know? Like
Unless the woman
yeah,
finally pressed charge. Like when did the charges were filed? The 12th, right?
yeah,
He was
no,
September
arrested.
the
the
12th.
stuff all so the stuff happened in September, and then around that same time like Bob Parker's released a bunch of dates. I don't remember what the actual dates were now. Something tells me it was in September as well when the stuff got filed. However, I don't think that's true. There was like actual charges and stuff filed sometime last year between September and December. I can't remember what. I
Yeah,
can't remember when. But then like the actual warrant and stuff did not happen until May 12th.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, so
probably
like
why they waited so long
yeah,
because the
it
warrant
happened
and the
last year.
charges.
yeah.
But
But
I just want to go on a brim and say something real quick, Carmen, if you don't mind. But it's
yeah,
like it really frustrates me that we're at this point with everything going on. Like I had this conversation with my mother about it, and we both were at the understanding of this is kind of stupid how we're treating it because I understand what Eddie did is a bad thing, right? Correct.
yes.
Um,
Well, if
but
it is true, if it is
if
true,
it is true what he did, but um, look at Fell and all the other leagues possibly of people and the shit they do. We had what was it, 3 assault on women players basically,
yeah,
where they got charged with assault on a woman and they were allowed to come back very after everything happened.
Yeah, I
Like, they were
mean,
allowed back.
that's not right though. And
No,
then
it's not.
two wrongs aren't gonna make a right here.
No, but you get what I'm saying, though. I don't
Yeah, I know,
think
I know where this is going.
it's just ridiculous to think that the NFL treats them like that, to where like, oh, you did that, yeah, it's fine, come on back, it don't matter to us really. But like, I understand NASCAR's whole case, and I respect the decision they made about suspending Eddie. I love Eddie to death, not because I'm a Chase Elliott fan, but I watched him when he was with Jeff and everything, and I loved him as a spotter. I think Eddie's really a great spotter and everything, and the way I listen to him and know how he is with Chase and how close he is with Bill and the whole family and everything, I don't see him doing anything wrong, which was very surprising when I found out the news last night about it.
I was shocked too.
Yeah, I was like,
But until a whole story comes out about anything, I'm not gonna take any sides or anything. But
Yeah, I'm not passing any judgments at the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
with I'm basically saying I 100% stand with what NASCAR did suspending Eddie.
yeah,
What I
yeah,
hate
they,
in
they
you
have
have
to.
to. You
what
have
They
to.
have to.
what I hate in the fact is that the NFL is just that don't give a shit mentality about what
Yeah,
the hell you
that's
do,
yeah,
which
that's
is
stupid.
very effing idiotic, which really
I've always
triggers
felt
me.
that way about
Like,
the
let's be
policy of that
honest.
stuff.
Deshaun Watson shouldn't be in the league right now until further notice.
Yeah,
It's simple as that, right?
I'm not taking sides in that one either, but I agree. He should be suspended
Yeah. Until
something like gets definitively announced or discovered or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I agree with that as well. But I found the tweet. So to go back to my point a minute ago about not knowing the actual dates. So the thing occurred on September 7th, and then in September, a criminal summons for assault on a female was issued, and then a warrant for arrest for battery on an unborn child 2 weeks ago. So the warrant was released 2 weeks ago. The assault case was posted last September and has been postponed several times since then. So the warrant for arrest was for the unborn child. That happened 2 weeks ago. That's why he was arrested.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Basically,
Yeah,
um,
we need more
I
Yeah.
will
information.
say one thing. I saw somewhere, somewhere in the Reddit thread where they had a link to this company that this allegedly happened at. You guys know what Yelp is, right? Like the thing where you just review whatever, right?
Mhm.
yeah.
Literally 1 star, Like,
Out
this
of
ain't
how many reviews?
like 30, and
Oh
all of them
boy.
are saying, yeah. So like, this isn't like no meme. Like, and these reviews are just like, this company is bogus, bold, blah blah blah, blah bad, bad. Let's just put it that. So that does favor Eddie a little bit, but obviously we're just playing it by ear at this point.
Yeah.
Well, so like just reading off of what the employee said and like how little descriptive the lawyer, like the statement the lawyer released is compared to DeHaan's wife, her lawyer released a statement about what happened, and like it's extremely descriptive and like paints a better picture. I'm still not taking sides. However, at the moment for me, it's you know I yeah I should stop where I'm at now, but it's looking kind of yikes at the moment. I think that Eddie, yeah, never mind. I'm just gonna stop.
Well, I mean, the whole thing's. I mean, either way, it's yikes. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Either side is
So-
either Eddie should not have done that and obviously very bad and deserves criminal time, or that employee is really fucking stupid and is just grabbing for money and is an
Yeah.
idiot and also should be in jail because if you make false accusations like that, especially ones that can hurt somebody's career like they have DeHaan's already, like go to jail, please.
you deserve the same punishment,
You
right?
deserve, yeah, exactly.
So,
There's also one thing. I hope this changes NASCAR. Like, NASCAR does something in the future where they actually like do checks to make sure stuff like this isn't happening, right?
yeah, I think it's
More
a
Yeah,
wake up call,
I
right?
don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know how you implement something
Did
like
they
that.
force that
'Cause
as a team
Well,
thing? The team has to do it themselves, maybe.
Uh, Here's the thing: if you want to see who got arrested, there's ways just to do that. Like, you could literally have a guy at the freaking NASCAR main office, like at once a month, go through, check the arrest, just who's been arrested in the last month, and well, there you go.
yeah, I guess there's like the thing that's different about NASCAR compared to other sports is like when it happens in the NFL, it's if it happens to a player or a coach, those names are so well known that some journalist is going to come across that no matter what. and it's going to get out there so easily. In NASCAR, the drivers are the only big names, and kind of the crew chiefs as well. If somebody on like a pit crew has that happen, or in this case like a spotter, those names aren't wildly known.
It came down
And
to a
so I
fan
think that
finding it.
can kind of fall down under the
Yeah.
cracks. Yeah,
Okay.
and
Actually,
then
an interesting thing was this was also seen in the Reddit post. So the guy who posted this, let me go back to this post.
I have breaking news actually.
Hold on. So,
Um,
are you gonna mention what you were talking about before, Matt? Because that was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, that was
So
actually Let's go.
this is
Just make it
very
quick.
interesting. This is very interesting because a link to this page where when this first got on Reddit last night, the link to this page was actually posted 10 days ago on Reddit, and the post got instantly deleted. And someone had a link to it, and it's like, yep, it's basically the exact same title, kind of, and it was posted 10 days ago, but it got deleted by mods. So someone knew about this about 2 weeks, basically as it happened.
And then Eddie, what did you have to say?
apparently there's a rumor of a spotter possibly being filled for Chase.
Well, yes, they would need a spotter.
Yeah.
Apparently it would be Mr. Earl Barbin.
Oh, okay, I can see that happening.
Ooh.
That wouldn't surprise me. I was afraid they're gonna put Brett Griffin up
Yeah.
there or something.
Yeah,
It'd probably
Dwayne
be just a
Johnson's old
1 week
spotter.
thing. Probably a 1 week thing until they
Because
find a
Earl
better
used to work
solution.
with Chase in the Xfinity when
Yeah.
he was in Nationwide Series.
Yeah, no, I can
And
see
it's
it
probably
happening.
just
Yeah.
good. It'd probably just be a 1 week thing too, until they can figure out something more.
Permanent, yeah. Because honestly, it probably will be quite some time before DeHaan is back. If he's back, obviously, we don't know what's going on fully yet, so we'll have to wait and see. So, that was, I think, the only bit of drama, other than, of course, with the drivers in the rain and whatnot and stuff. So, was there anything? I mean, but okay. So before we move on from NASCAR, Bubba Wallace sponsorship, Logitech.
Yeah.
How about that?
Time with him.
That is really
Definitely
cool.
not getting the fan
I
response
think the
as
car
usual.
looks freaking like hot.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. That's not. Never mind.
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
that
that-
wasn't the car that released.
Logitech,
My
That's,
bad, my
no.
but
bad.
hey, no, that
That was
does
DoorDash.
it does look
Freaking
good though.
released, my bad.
It does look
Yeah,
good though.
that skin does look good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
forgot that was sponsored by
DoorDash.
DoorDash.
But
Yeah.
so
Nice.
personally,
Logitech.
I'm not switching over. I'm sorry. As cool as it is, I'm sticking with Razer. But
Same.
I think it's really cool. I mean, is there something like a headset or something I heard? That
Yeah, Logitech is affiliated with the headset I use now, which is
okay.
Astro.
If there's a Bubba Wallace headset, I will buy that 100%. But that's
I
probably
doubt it.
I wouldn't even probably use it. I just wanna have it. Like that's cool. Like NASCAR driver and like a gaming accessory. We don't have that.
I
You know?
agree, actually.
I
That'd be
wouldn't.
something I'd like get to put up, like to have behind me or something for,
Right.
to like show off and stuff.
For like when I invest into streaming in the future, or if I have like a webcam, have that in the background just as a nice little thing, just chilling there. It's very cool. I would have expected like I would have thought like Logitech, like the first gaming driver I think of is like William Byron. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, and like because he's got his own iRacing team and stuff. So
I mean, can we kind of count Dale Jr. too, low key?
Yeah.
yeah, kind of. So like those were like the first two names. Like when you think NASCAR gaming, that's what comes to my mind. But overall, I mean, a good choice to go with Bubba, and this could lead in the future to potentially, maybe working with other drivers.
I just want to interrupt real quick. Eddie, don't you have a race soon?
Yeah, in a half an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll be done before then.
The lobby's open now. I'm sitting in it, but the race
Oh,
is
okay.
scheduled at 9.
Yeah, we'll be done by then,
And,
hopefully.
I think the reason that Bubba is one of the first as well is, A, we know he's into the iRacing stuff, and B, he's becoming
He's becoming one of the faces of motorsports, not just NASCAR.
One of the global brands of NASCAR and motorsports in general. So like, it's not surprising to me to see all these first time sponsorships in NASCAR going to Bubba, like DoorDash and then Columbia, and then now Logitech and Cash App. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
DraftKings now,
too.
yeah.
DraftKings
That's
is
a big
really
one.
cool. And that paint scheme is nice. And B, having DraftKings come in to sponsor NASCAR, I think is very cool. So no matter, say what you will about Bubba and his team kind of struggling so far this year, the sponsorships that he's brought into NASCAR and the overall viewership and just eye opening he's done so far for people in NASCAR. I think that's greater than anything he's done on track to this point. And
And
I certainly hope that the on track stuff equals to that at some point. But right now he's a huge
I
brand and honestly I enjoy that a lot.
I think what he's done is unprecedented in the modern era of NASCAR. Like no one has done what he's done. Like in my
Yeah, so
lifetime.
yeah, I think at the moment like he's expanding NASCAR by just getting out to more brands and stuff like and he's doing it in a way now of like what Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt did back in
Right.
the 90s where for them it was pure racing and that's what everybody got into. Now this time around it's Bubba bringing more brands and more exposure and more well-known stuff into the sport that's going to bring more eyes and I'm not going to offer an opinion on whether that's a bad thing or not that it's not his racing yet that has done that, but more exposure in general, no matter what, is a fantastic thing. And I think also as a person, Bubba is a great person. So him being that leader, I'm ecstatic for
I
him
mean,
and obviously for the sport in general.
yeah, their performance right now with him 23-11, they're struggling. 39th at COTA, obviously a different situation with COTA, but like aside from the performance, what he is doing for NASCAR is massive. It's huge. And like I said, in my lifetime, I haven't seen someone be able to represent the sport like he has in just the last few years alone.
I
So
mean, honestly, we're in a world now in 2021 where your racing product is not going to be what brings eyes to the sport anymore because people aren't going to notice what you're doing on track and immediately start to flock to you. That's not what's going to bring eyes in. What's going to bring eyes in
Your
is
name
doing different stuff. It's getting yourself out there to brands
and your name.
and really yeah, I mean that too, but I mean like getting regular people who aren't into motorsports to watch the sport. It's going to be things that you do differently that aren't on the track like he's doing now with aligning with brands that are well known, aligning with a person like Michael Jordan who's one of the most well-known people in the world, especially in the sports world. And so doing things like that, that's how you bring more exposure to NASCAR in the world of 2021. And he's doing a great job with it. And I'm really excited to see where it takes the sport in general.
Yeah, because I would not be surprised now if we sit here probably like 10, 15, maybe 20 years down the road and we don't see freaking Jeff Gordon's son, Kevin Harvick's son, Kyle Busch's son all coming to NASCAR.
Oh, we're 100% seeing Kyle Busch's son and Harvick's son.
Yeah,
Those two
Jeff's
for
I
son.
sure.
I, I, I call it
Jeff's son's
I don't
now.
know.
starting too.
I don't know if Leo's doing anything, but
He
I,
right.
he did some midget racing.
well, here's the
Last
thing.
I
So
remember.
Jeff is pushing Leo into a DJ route.
I was gonna say Jeff. I haven't seen him pushing Leo into racing at all.
Like
No,
he's
he
done
did
it.
some
He's done it,
now, but
right?
he's
But
done some, yeah, he's done most
yeah,
some
but
now.
like
um,
he's not like having him continually do it. I'm not seeing Jeff have him do
yeah.
it
Like I
I
remember
would,
Jeff saying he bought him a DJ set and was pushing him into DJing. That was when Jeff was in
Jeff
that
Gordon,
whole.
holy crap! Off track Jeff Gordon is a personality that I did not think that would
I
be here.
remember when he
I
did
knew he's
Burning
always
Man.
had a personality, but like holy crap,
He's
man is
something else.
wild.
I was shocked, like when I remember hearing like he was into the whole EDM scene. I was like, okay, whatever. Like on off track, Jeff Gordon is something else. Like he went to Coachella. Um,
I don't know which I like more. I don't know if I like on track Jeff more or off track Jeff more because they're both just like
Yes.
awesome.
yeah. He was a
See.
hell of a driver, and then his personality off the track, he's just a cool dude.
It's just yes.
He's a downright cool dude, and I'm proud to call him my favorite all time race car driver. Um, that's an example. Like Jeff Gordon, great on the track, but as well great off the track. It's not
Jimmy
very
Johnson
often.
is another example
Yes,
of that too. Now Jimmy, I think Jimmy's a little bit more camera shy and not as outlandish as like Jeff is, but still Jimmy is
a
another one of those people
downright
that just a great
great person.
ambassador no matter
Yeah.
what. Yeah.
And that's what, in my opinion, makes you an all-time great. I don't care if you're really good on the track. If you're not a good person off the track, I don't consider you to still be like an all-time great.
Same thing for Dale Earnhardt as well. The guy
Right? Yeah.
was one hell of a race car driver, and off the track, he was probably the coolest dude in the garage at that time. Like
On track is only
man,
part of your
I would
legacy.
love to see him still around.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he's not around in today's world of NASCAR, where there's so much exposure to fans, and like all that kind of stuff. I think Dale would still be at the racetrack every single
Oh,
weekend, signing
absolutely.
autographs and all that kind of stuff. The man was,
Yeah.
on track stuff is only part of your legacy. Off track is just as important in my opinion. But we'll
And
move on.
Kyle Busch
Oh,
too.
yeah, you know what? He
Just one last thing. Yeah, Kyle Busch. Like, say what you will about him on track, off track, no one treats their fans better than Kyle Busch does.
True.
The guy goes above and beyond. Like when I went to Daytona, I was having people sign my stuff, and obviously Jeff took a while to sign stuff, and then Kyle Busch literally stood there and signed every single person that was at his booth. Jeff stopped with like 10 or 15 people left. There was several others who stopped with a couple people left. Like when I went to Harvick, there was 2 of us left, and he walked away twice. He did it twice. Still mad at you, Kevin, for that. Did it to me twice, and then Kyle stood there and signed for everybody. Didn't walk away until everybody was done. The man is just so gracious when it comes to his fans. And so I that's another thing that I like. I don't like Kyle as a driver. Well, no, I've actually started to like Kyle more
he's
as a
moved
driver
up my
recently.
list a
But
lot too.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
but
I don't
off
want to
track
admit it though.
Kyle, yeah, off track Kyle though is like top. That's what every driver should strive to be.
Um, moving on from NASCAR.
Thank God.
Honestly, I actually enjoyed our NASCAR talk tonight. I thought it was really good. But Monaco, Formula One. I said Verstappen was going to win. A lot of us said Verstappen was going to win. Verstappen won.
Uh,
I honestly was
Leclerc.
fully expecting Leclerc to win until the whole.
I still,
know.
so after he got the pole, I said, even if he starts the race, I was like, he's not winning. I texted that to Jay. I said, Verstappen leads out of one.
There's the whole DNF thing for him, but honestly, with the way that Monaco is, if he doesn't DNF, I think he still wins just because it's a parade around there, and the cars looked genuinely fast. All
It was
weekend.
good.
They looked better
Ferrari was
than any
strong.
other car out there.
I was surprised. Ferrari was definitely a competitor.
Max was like, "Yes, it's Monaco. I wanted to deal with Mercedes." Ferrari's like, "Hello."
Yeah. So we actually have something noteworthy to talk about from qualifying. Is Leclerc puts it P1, and crashes. And I went back and watched the highlights. So and saw Verstappen was extremely upset when the caution came out. He was setting Verstappen was setting a pole lap at the time of the crash, which was unfortunate for him. But he still started second. So, but obviously qualifying is so important at Monaco. So of course he's going to be really upset when he's setting a pole lap. But obviously it didn't affect him in the end. So Ferrari was like the car is raceable. And they were going to take it to the grid for the race.
Well, first of all, let's not get too far here. I want to go back to talking about there was a huge talking point of why didn't Leclerc have his time revoked? Why did he not lose pole and all that kind of stuff? Nobody else ran faster than him. I don't know how you could sit there and say that just because he crashed, he shouldn't get pole. Like,
but every other motor, this is the one difference of F1 where every other motorsport penalizes you for something like that.
Well, he would have gotten penalized had Ferrari been smart and actually done the replacement they should have done.
No. It was actually determined that the issue would have happened regardless if they changed the drive shaft transmission.
Really?
Yep. It actually was deemed to be hopeless. Actually.
Oh, okay. Well,
because the thing that actually broke.
Could they have replaced it anyways? Like
yes,
no matter what.
They could have. But here's the thing. Ferrari said the things they do check when something like this happens, it was one of the things they would not have checked.
Really?
Yeah. I also heard though, I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I saw that what was wrong, they could have actually replaced it and still not have gotten a penalty and held on to pole. But obviously, they didn't know where to look for that.
The main thing that would get affected with an F1 car with a crash is a gearbox, and there's a penalty there for changing your gearbox. So technically, there is a penalty in place for having something like that happen in qualifying. I get the people are saying every other motorsport has this, but nobody ran faster than him. You can't say. Yes, Max looked like he was having a flying lap, but you never know what's going to happen in Sector 3. And Leclerc was going to be on a flying lap as well. You never know if he could have ran faster. So I am of the opinion that it's fine that he was able to keep his pole position. However,
I agree.
Unfortunate that they didn't catch the issue with the car until the race was started.
My favorite part about it was when Leclerc and they were like, "Oh yeah, we can't race now." Leclerc's out of the car doing his interview about there's not enough time and whatnot. to fix it before the race even started. And in the background, his whole team's doing jumping jacks. It's like that was the funniest thing ever.
Hey, you wanna, I tweeted when it happened. I was like, this was the most accurate statement about the Leclerc crash. This is the smartest thing he's ever done, or the dumbest thing he's ever done. It turned out it was the dumbest thing he's ever done.
I mean, the Ferrari meme just continues, I guess,
It
because
does.
like obviously a mistake by Leclerc, but there's the chance there to fix it and still keep pole, and Ferrari doesn't fix
It,
it. They
it's the
don't catch
Ferrari
it, and
it's the Ferrari master plan.
like, oh my gosh, Ferrari, your entire team is just a joke, man.
I
Like I
feel.
get that.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
just I guess them saying too that's not normally a part that they would have checked. I mean, when you have a crash like that, why do you not check everything? You have a full
Yeah.
24 hours.
I'd go. I'd be
Why
looking at
don't you
everything.
check everything?
Yeah.
You know, especially when he hits the rear that hard like that. Like I get he hit the
Yeah.
front, but then the rear came around and really hit the wall. So I don't know why they don't check everything. I don't know why there's a list.
I felt really bad for
That's my
Charles, of course, because I like Charles a lot. I felt really bad for him, but as a Ferrari hater, I loved it.
opinion.
But as a Sebastian Vettel fan, who had a great Grand Prix, finished fifth, first points for Aston Martin as well, beat Stroll, was better than Stroll all weekend. Hopefully, it's like that the rest of the year.
I mean, he has been so far for the
Yeah,
majority
but
of the time.
Stroll's been still beating him quite a bit. So, but like this was like the first weekend down, right, where just the whole time he was just faster. It was great.
God, Sebastian at Monaco though, he's a monster when it comes to overcuts.
And you know how awesome it was to see him, like, the joy come out in him after the race again? Like,
Yeah,
oh,
he
it felt
genuinely
so
that was the
good.
first time I've seen him happy since I think Germany, since
Like,
that
even,
crash.
like, when he won in Singapore in 2019, it didn't even feel like we had that.
I don't think he's been happy in the sport of F1 since Germany. That's when everything's gone down, and I think it's really affected him. And I think, in my opinion, he's looked happier this year than he was with Ferrari, but he hasn't looked competitive still with that
Right.
team. He's we haven't seen the same Sebastian Vettel. This was the first time that like he genuinely had really good pace and looked like his old self. And I hope that continues because I
And we
like Vettel a
were
lot.
we were mentioning earlier, like in NASCAR, great drivers on and off the track. Sebastian Vettel, in my opinion, the pinnacle of in Formula One of a great driver on track and an incredible human being off track. I've heard like so many incredible stories from just random fan encounters with the guy. But great
I
weekend
think
for
it's
him.
Never
I,
know.
I think it's really unfortunate that F1 is like the pinnacle of motorsport and obviously the most popular motorsport, and we don't know really anything about 80% of the drivers in the field
Yeah,
because
Sebastian
so
has no
many
socials.
so many of them have no socials, so many of them don't do anything outside of the race weekend. And like obviously there's no way that all of them have no personality. They all have to have or there's at least some in there with good personalities, and obviously I assume most of them are all good people. We just don't know much about them outside of the racing, and I think that's unfortunate for the most popular sport in the world. Why F1 doesn't promote their drivers more, and they don't have their drivers go out and do more things to interact with fans and put themselves out there and stuff? It's kind of mind blowing a little bit.
Um, I think my biggest takeaway from Monaco, the surprise for me was that Mazepin did not end up in the water.
He did spin though.
He did spin, but he did not end up in the water, which I thought was a win for him.
Yeah.
Obviously he still sucked. It was great.
Yeah.
But so I like Schumacher on the opening lap through the very sharp hairpin, just muscled his way right through Mazepin, got around him, and I was just
Yeah,
like,
well, the funny thing is, Schumacher actually finished behind him.
yeah, who cares? Mazepin
But
sucks.
yeah. Do we talk about the glorious moment that'll be stapled
Oh,
into F1 history for generations to come?
Their race wasn't even that good, and I still enjoy the race, and I think it's only because of the moment.
what is the moment you speak of?
So this is when Vettel is coming out of his pit stall trying to get the overcut, and he comes out side by side with Gasly, and then they cut to Lance Stroll cutting
Hitting the
one of
wall.
is hitting a chicane and hitting a wall, and we never knew what happened, but it ended up Vettel being in front. So the greatest meme of F1 2021 has been born, and is being Lance Stroll. Whenever something
Crofty's reaction live too was great.
Oh yeah.
Oh no! What has happened? Why
We
we
need
cut
to
away? We
know.
need to go back.
we need to know what is.
see.
Oh my
Like the
god.
fact that he didn't know it was going to cut away to that is even greater, and I think it gives a little bit of insight into how an F1 production goes as well. And the fact that he didn't know, I think, is even more hilarious. That they just cut to it right at that time.
But who chose to do that? Because the timing was atrocious. Like you see them side by side. Up.
Yeah,
Well, my guess is they already had the thing queued up to go there,
yeah, and
and they were just telling him like at a countdown, and they weren't really paying attention to what was happening, and I'm assuming that's why that happened.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was glorious though.
But
The timing.
The timing couldn't have been better because as soon as they go side by side, F1 logo pops up and they're going to look at a replay.
There's this Lance Stroll smiling at you.
Yeah. Oh.
The funniest part is it was like the only like action that was gonna happen all race, and they're just like, nah, dog, you ain't seen that. It was glorious. It was so bad, it was good. And
the memes that have been created.
Oh my god.
Formula Dank, man.
Dude, the Piston Cup one, that is the peak.
Yeah, I was just
yeah.
gonna say that is the best one I've seen so far. That's my favorite one.
Who's gonna win the Piston Cup? They're coming across the line, and it's Lance Stroll.
There's that. There's the Timo Glock one too that I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, the Glock one was good.
It's like, is that Glock?
Another good one is the Nico and Hamilton crashing.
Oh, I haven't seen that one actually, but I can already imagine.
Now the real question is how does Lance Stroll feel about this? We need to know. We need to know what has happened to Lance Stroll's mental.
You know what I want to make is a version of that 2012 Talladega right before Tony Stewart cuts across Michael Waltrip. Boom. Lance Stroll, and then once that's over, come back and everyone's just wiped out.
Or the Kenza taking out Logano.
Yeah. I'm gonna make that the 2012 one as soon as we're done here. Actually.
Oh, jeez, the meme. It really is like the greatest meme in F1 I've seen in so long.
There's so many moments I could go to. Jeff Gordon and Clint Boyer of Phoenix in 2012. It cut out right as he's starting to send it. The fight between Jeff and Brad at Texas.
The funny thing is, this is like one of those memes that honestly could last for like 20 years.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so funny and it's so applicable to this anything important happening in racing. Lance Stroll's face.
Yeah, that's literally what it's going to be remembered for now.
You could also do it for the Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards wreck at Talladega. As soon as they start getting side by side, you just cut it away. That'd be great.
God.
Now, other than that, there was one
I didn't
interesting.
watch it.
Oh, you should have been there. So
I recorded. I haven't watched it yet.
Valtteri Bottas.
Oh, let's say his pit stop is still happening.
He comes into the pit lane. Toto puts partial blame on Valtteri for this, stopping a tiny bit before the line that you're supposed to stop on, and then the guy puts the wheel gun on the nut, and then something messes up obviously with the nut, and then they can't get the wheel to come off, and that was literally his race. His race was over, and I don't know if they gotten the wheel off yet, but I saw they have to send it to the factory to get it off, right?
Yeah, no, they sent it to the factory. I believe they've gotten it off, but I was like, and the pit stop is finally complete after 24 hours.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him, man.
If there's one thing, I think I've mentioned this a couple times as well. If there's one thing that like Mercedes is god awful at, it's pit stops. The last 2 or 3 seasons, every time something bad has happened to them, it's involved something going on the pit stop. Like
even Hamilton's pit strategy this race.
That was atrocious, man.
Yeah, George Russell knows all about that.
Like Hamilton, the fact that like he finished 7th was unbelievable. And like,
anything involving pit road or pit lane, whatever you want to call it, because European. Anything involving the pit lane with Mercedes has just not been their strong point. Germany a couple of times now with Hamilton. There's my alarm going off.
Well,
So many different things. Just
Yeah.
it's always pit road for them. And honestly, I'm here for it because it makes them look comical when they're all running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to figure out what to do. It's hilarious.
The Velty pit stop was comical when it was happening, but there was also the part of me that's like, man, nothing ever DNFs Lewis, man.
no, yeah, he just
Yeah.
it's always Valtteri with the DNFs.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, he's already been written off. He's no competition whatsoever this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, he's only 3 points ahead of Perez, so.
Yeah, we're talking about Perez. I mean, I'm hearing it a little bit here
He's
and there
only
about
3 points ahead of
yeah,
Perez.
47 to 44. So like I've been
What?
hearing a little bit about Perez struggling, but I mean, like, Valtteri's only got 3 more points in the Mercedes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Perez is. People shouldn't be surprised he's going to struggle in qualifying. He's not a good qualifier.
yeah, he had a very nice comeback. P4, given the track,
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
man.
that was a tremendous drive once again. That's not the first time in the Red Bull where we've seen a really good drive from him.
I think that if it's not Monaco, he gets podium because he was hauling towards signs, and then his pace just kind of died towards the
Yeah.
end. I think everything had to do with
third
dirty
year.
air.
And
Yeah.
by the way, Azerbaijan is next.
Oh
Oh.
man, I can't wait for that race.
If Perez is going to shine somewhere, it's going to be Azerbaijan.
That's the one track that I keep saying. I think we're going to see him actually dominate. With Red Bull looking like they have the fastest car this season, and with how good he is at that track, I genuinely expect Perez to be really good.
Verstappen's now the points leader. I still stand by Hamilton will run away with the championship.
I don't know. I still think he might win it, but I don't know if it's going to be a runaway.
Yeah, I think
Mercedes at this point is not looking like they're going to run away with it this year. I still think they're going to win. However, I think it'll actually be hopefully come down to at least the last couple of races.
Yeah,
Lando in third.
Yeah, he is, but he's not even.
Red Bull also leads the constructors by a point.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, I think Lewis wins in the end, but I don't think it's gonna be like full on like 4-race blowout.
Right.
I don't think that's possible at this point.
I think
You know what's
he
interesting too is Max has the points lead now, and I believe this is the best start Lewis has ever had to a season.
Well, it was
up until Monaco.
yeah, it was until Monaco. Lando, of course, doing an incredible job with the
He's
McLaren
gonna get
team.
so many podiums this year with the way that team is, and just like with the things that
form.
keep happening.
It's so good right now.
Yeah, like there's always at least one driver from Mercedes or Red Bull every single race this season that's had an issue happen, and Lando's just right there to take third. Like he's gonna get a podium a lot this season, and I'm here for it.
I think Azerbaijan always has potential to be crazy. So I mean, he could very well pop off there as well and pull something off. So, and then we got Azerbaijan, then we got France and Austria. 2 actually back-to-back Austrias coming up. Austria is usually pretty solid, so I'm excited for that one. France is going to be a different story, but Azerbaijan, I'm looking forward to that one, definitely. That's an early one. That's 8 a.m.
I love that France track so much, but like it just doesn't produce.
So the thing with Baku is it's gonna be really good or really bad. There's no in between there.
Yeah, like
that's true.
2018, the last time Ricardo and Verstappen were teammates, Azerbaijan that year was hands down top 3 like my favorite motorsports races of all time that I'd watched.
And that was the one time
you missed.
I was not able.
I remember that.
Not able to watch that race.
It was such a good race.
Me, telling me stuff that happened, and I was so upset that I didn't get to see it.
The race was so good. But
my favorite F1 race is still 2019 Hockenheim.
Oh man,
up there for me. There's a couple races in Germany that's just
as long as you don't say 2018 Germany. But next week, 2-week break, of course, and they'll be going to Azerbaijan. So I guess it kind of moves us towards the end of the podcast, where we're just gonna talk about what's coming here for NASCAR Formula One. Actually, hold on, we got one little thing we're gonna touch upon. we're not gonna bother with the iRacing thing, but let's quickly bring in what happened with Nitro before we move into the very final part. So Nitro was at Charlotte Motor Speedway for their Coca-Cola
How'd your race
600.
go, Gary?
It went great. So here's my story.
Literally, don't come to me on this one. Don't even
Okay,
ask me.
10-4.
Don't talk to me about this.
I raced so hard at Richmond because I knew Coca-Cola 600 was coming up, and I was like, I gotta win so I can take a week off. That's what happened. I took it off. I said I ain't doing that race. So that was my race. We're not gonna ask Jay, so we'll jump to Matt and Eddie. Start with Matt. Just what happened in your race?
I was pretty fast, and um, stage 3 happened. I did a Gary and spun on the pit road on the first screen for like pit stop,
Sounds like me.
and then and then coming with like 12 to go, I pitted again. Andrew was in front of me. I got on the brakes a little late and absolutely destroyed him. And he's in my Twitch chat right now.
Oh,
See, the weird thing is, like, if you see my POV, you never see him wreck on my screen. I never touch him. I netcoded him, but I knew exactly what happened. And
Gotta love NASCAR heat.
yeah, yeah. Oops. But when I did that, I missed pit road, so I slowed down a lot. So I had to go around again. So instead of getting a top 5, I ended up 7th.
I mean, not
Yeah,
terrible still, but I mean, sucks
should've
though
been
when you
top
could have done better, right?
Yeah.
Eddie, wait, did you race?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, how was yours?
Qualified like shit as usual. I can't get down qualifying for some reason this
Yeah,
year.
that
It's
was too.
really stressful. I can't figure it out. We got to the green flag. I felt really good off the start. Like the first like about 10, 15 laps, I felt really good. I started I think 15th, and I drove my way into 9th or 8th in the 15, 20 laps or so. And then I was like up there in the top 5 with the guys mixing and matching with them, and I kind of figured we had a good car. So it was pretty good all around. And then we got the setups in and all that, and it felt really good. I started tweaking around with it a little bit more, and Mahu had next gen car
Facts.
in a Heat 5 game, and every time I was able to get to him, we would be like I would get him, but then he would get me back in a couple laps after that. He just had a car I just can't believe was just that great. Like you know somebody's good when they roll 3 and 4 as good as he did. Like you clip that apron once, you're screwed. Like the way it looked on my screen, he would hit the apron and barely lose like any grip. It was just insane.
It was just
But
Durham teaching them.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm really fucking sure about that. Anyway, yeah, but we had a good car. Not the result I kind of was hoping for. But
Where did you
P5 is fine.
finish? P5.
I got
Okay.
I got 5th. Yeah, I
Okay.
think I had a top 3 car in my opinion, but I mean, I had a couple incidents, but I mean, it's whatever. Everybody has incidents nowadays, you know.
Yeah, I'll just mention iRacing Andrewism. He dominated, won the race. Only one car other than him was on the lead lap, and that was Matt because he got out like a dog from a caution. Everybody else was a lap down. It was right. It felt like last season all over again, and I was like, "Oh God, I don't want this happening." But
Yeah. It was very boring.
yeah, hopefully the turnout's better in the future. That's literally all we can ask for now. So before we go on, Matt, what's the next race for the Cup Series side of Xbox?
Atlanta.
Okay, that'd be an interesting one.
So you know, very skill intensive. You know,
I want that one. Andrew's in your
Really
chat right now, so
Really Charlotte-esque.
so yeah, that'll be an interesting one. So we'll move now to the end of the podcast. We've actually been going for how long have we been going for? We're right about to hit 2. Yeah, we've been actually going for a while. So
I'm actually gonna dip out here because I
okay.
gotta go.
Well, you have a good night.
Yep,
Peace.
Appreciate. Bye
COTA
bye.
took a while. Yeah, COTA took a while to get through.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about there. So, so moving on. NASCAR this weekend. I guess actually we don't have to do F1 predictions because we'll be able to do that next week. So, NASCAR, Charlotte, Coca-Cola 600. My first prediction is it will be long, very long. Okay,
Going out on a limb on that one.
as obviously it's a crown jewel, but I hate the Coca-Cola 600 with a passion. because it is
It
so
would be fine if it
unnecessarily
was
long.
really a good race.
Yeah, that's the
Charlotte
thing. Racing
doesn't
ain't great
good
anymore.
racing, though.
And I'm not looking forward to it one bit. Of course, we're gonna be invested into it, watching it. So it's gonna be interesting to see what
I
happens.
just
My
want to point
prediction.
out
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
there's a semi decent chance for rain on both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh,
Not like great. They're both in the 30s.
nothing's worse than
But-
like a Sunday and you're waiting for the race to start and it keeps getting delayed and then they postpone it to a Monday and you feel like you wasted your day
Especially the
already.
600.
Yeah.
If you already spend like 3 or 4 hours waiting on that race to start and like, no, please don't. let that
Yeah.
happen.
Hopefully it doesn't happen. My prediction, I think the 9 will be fast, but I'm going to say is Denny Hamlin is going to win. I don't think
Truex.
he's ever won. Oh, wait. Martin Truex is there. Someone please crash the 19. Actually, yeah, no. Martin Truex Jr. is going to win. I didn't even think about that. Preferably, of
Yeah.
course, Hamlin. Hopefully, Suarez has a good run. But I think Truex, actually, yeah, Truex is going to win.
Yeah.
Jay, who do you think?
Truex.
I wasn't ready for that one. Matt?
Truex.
Oh.
I want to say something different, but just
I
can't.
think if anyone other than him wins, that would be a success.
Yeah, I hope.
I don't
someone other than
care
him wins. However,
how
at
it
this point,
happens.
yeah, I can't.
Y'all
bet
Truex
against
haters.
Truex.
Y'all
No,
Truex
no.
haters.
The reason I don't want him winning that one is because he keeps winning that thing.
He's only
And
won
like,
twice.
exactly, that's twice too many.
And he's like destroyed the field
Yeah,
in both of them. as
when you lead like 390 or 400 laps, that's when you know the race was awful. Okay.
I think he's actually done that 3 times and only won 2 of those, right?
No, the second one he won is the one where he got the flat tire, destroyed the wall, and still came back and won and dominated the race.
Yeah. See, that's terrible. Okay. Oh my
How's
god.
that terrible? That's crazy.
No, it's
I mean,
crazy.
It's crazy, but it's like also like, how is that fun to watch?
Blame the rest of the field for sucking and being terrible.
Or him always cheating because every time he wins, he's got to blow out that rear quarter panel.
There you have it.
Actually, last time, and you want to know something? Actually, last time I checked, Bowman did the same thing at Dover.
Did he?
Hey,
A little bit.
hey now. We
not
stand
Truex,
Alex
but-
Bowman. Alex
a
can do
little
whatever
bit.
he wants.
Oh, that's right, because Hendrick is the golden child.
They got them windshields bending. So I was like, hey, we got to put that clickbait title on the last podcast, but sure enough, it's almost at 1K views.
Oh yeah, and people were a little upset.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that, and I was like, oh,
Dude,
this is
there was-
great.
Okay, never mind.
There was a dude that had
Okay, so we're
paragraphs
gonna-
upon paragraphs.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna mention that, but I didn't want to. I went through your comments. I think you had about 20 comments on there. Like 16 were from him, and all of them were literal Harry Potter books.
Yeah, I read a
He went
tiny bit
into
of it.
So much detail. I got more reading. After
If
like 2
you
sentences.
if you're the guy that did that, respect to you, my man. Thank you for taking the time to listen and actually give your input. We do appreciate that because we actually don't really get any of that. But yeah. Anyways, Matt, what's that
I'm
picture
pretty sure
about?
he wrote
Oh
about it
wait,
for
never
every
mind.
every
I see
single
it.
topic.
It's the quarter panel.
Yeah, you see. No
Yeah.
one mentions it when it's a
Well,
Hendrick
okay.
car.
I mean, that's true, but also at the same time, like it's a pattern with Truex.
Oh yeah,
You know,
and Logano.
literally every time he wins. And, yeah, and Logano too. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Logano don't win anymore anyway. So, excuse me. What'd you say?
He does.
Who's got more career wins? Don't
it's-
mention championships though. I don't want to hear.
championship Logano have.
Not enough to be better than Denny.
Well, here's the thing. Joey's 10 years younger, and he has 31 wins. I mean, 27 wins already.
That's okay. So yeah, Charlotte upcoming this weekend. It'll be boring, likely. It'll be long. Please, no rain delays. Honestly, just keep it green so we don't have to sit through the cautions and just give us a late race caution or something. I don't know. 4 stages. It's going to be an interesting one. 400 laps, 100 laps each, pretty much. So if you guys enjoyed You know what to do. We'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to listen to this episode and any others on whatever platform you listen or watch on YouTube, whatever. So once again, for myself, Jay, as well as Matt, just thank you for coming out, and we'll see you guys next week after the Coca-Cola 600. Have a great day, everybody.